We're live on YouTube. Frequent Milers Ask Us Anything. Greg and Nick are here. How are you doing today, Nick?
Here we are. I'm doing well. It's, the summertime and the living's easy, so to speak, right? It's starting to feel more and more like summer. So that's exciting. And you had some exciting news this week. You got a whole pile of points from Wyndham that showed up all of a sudden, right?
I did. That was pretty exciting. So yeah, the portal had offered a ridiculous 124 points per dollar for things remembered. And so I went on and bought things that I kind of wanted, but didn't really, definitely didn't need any of that stuff. And
and now you'll remember those things.
Well, things remembered because they got me 124 points per dollar. People watching this might remember that initially we knew that it was only tracking at 31 points per dollar, which normally would be a good rate, but compared to 124 was really bad. So I had put in a support, ticket, and the support ticket thing said, we'll get back to you within 48 hours, and they never ever got back to me. But instead,
Lizzie's busy. Lizzie's busy. What do you want?
Right. Poor Lizzie. 45 days later, I get the standard email that the portal sends out when your points have been confirmed. And this time it was showing the full 124 points per dollar. To the single digit, because I had in my post said how many points I was expecting. And that's exactly how many they said I was confirmed for. So pretty exciting stuff. Did you do any things remembered purchases?
No, I didn't. And maybe I should have, but I didn't. I thought that seemed so far-fetched. I was like, that's not really going to post at 124, is it? So I avoided that one. But funny enough, I did a whole bunch of other ones. I think the best deal I did, and I only found it just before it ended, that's why we didn't post it, was 11,000 and change points for opening a Verizon prepaid account. And there was also a Chase offer for $35 back. So it cost $39 to buy 1 month of a Verizon prepaid account. I got $35 back from the Chase offer. That's already posted. And in a few days here, I should have the 11,700 and change Wyndham points.
That's even better than the deal I did. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited. And I'm also excited today, a little tidbit on Wyndham. I learned I wanted to extend a Vacasa vacation booking, a vacation rental booking. And so I was curious if that could be done or if I needed a new reservation. So I emailed and said, hey, I'd like to add a night. Is that possible? Do I need to make a separate reservation? Blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, Lizzie wrote right back and said, Vacasa was able to confirm it. You're set for the extra night. And they just took the points out of my account. No need to, go back and forth with a bunch of points or anything. Done really quickly and easily.
And I can't remember, do you have the earner card yet?
It's sitting in the mail. I haven't been home. It's sitting in the mailbox somewhere in the pile of mail at home. So
okay, so you haven't activated it, so probably you didn't get the discount on this.
No. Yeah. Bummer, dude.
That's a shame, but
that's
it's
okay.
only a
that's
only a 1,500 point shame.
Not going to cry too hard. The 13,500 nights will be great when once we get that going. So right. Yeah, so good deal all around. I'm continue to be happy with Wyndham and that portal deal. I just got a whole ton of points coming, and I didn't think they would all come, but I definitely didn't think your 124x would post. So thank goodness they did. Congratulations, big score there too.
Yeah, thanks. I wish I had done like 10 times as much, but that's okay.
Don't we all? Do it again, Wyndham. Do it again. I dare you.
All right, let's start taking questions. So our first is from Grant, who says, hi, Greg, Nick, and Steven. He seems to think Steven is lurking behind the scenes here, which he is.
He is. How did you know?
But
what about Carrie?
I know. Where's Carrie in this list? Come on. He says, what is your current favorite hotel credit card and favorite benefit from hotel elite status? I'll let you take this first.
Okay, favorite hotel credit card. Come on, the Wyndham Earner card is about to be my favorite, but I don't have it in my hands yet. So So I'll go with the Ritz card, I guess, being my favorite hotel card because it's got the priority pass with unlimited guests, the $300 credit, super easy to use, and the 50K certificate for $150 net to me because I get the full value out of the travel credits. So $150 for the 50K free night cert and unlimited priority pass. That's about as good as it gets for a hotel credit card, in my opinion. So I think that, you know what? I said that. I should have said the Aspire. I'm going to shut up though because I already said 2 credit cards in the Aspire. Clearly should have been my favorite. Go ahead. What do you think?
I don't have the Aspire card yet, so I can't name that. The Ritz did pop to my head, but I'm going to, just because you said the Ritz, I'm going to go with another one, which is my World of Hyatt card. And the reason I'm picking it is not because it's that great for spend. It's not that great for its annual free night. What I really treasure about it is the ability to earn top tier elite status through spend. And so this year, it wasn't hard for anyone to earn it through stays, but in normal years, having that to get those extra elite nights is huge. And you know, I'm so in love with Hyatt as a chain right now that having that ability to do that is really great.
It is. The Aspire card, though, hands down, is the best deal, I would think.
Yeah.
It's got to be for your money, like in terms of what you're spending and what you're getting out of it. The Hilton Aspire card, hands down, right? I mean, $500 in credits a year and a free night for $450. I mean, come on, it's right. It's an easy win.
We can no longer say necessarily you get free breakfast, though.
Well, true. Abroad, you still get free breakfast as of the moment, but domestic.
So it looks like I'm getting screwed by that new rule already. So I have it. You know that Curio Collection Hotel in Madison, Connecticut that I had previously stayed at. They didn't have breakfast. I hated that. Well, now they have the full breakfast available. But not and I have a reservation for September. And guess what? I'm going to be getting something like $12 per person.
Like $12, yeah. Right. Which probably isn't even going to buy as much as you got last time.
I mean,
that stinks.
It does stink. So I'm really hating that.
Bummer. Come on, Hilton. Come on, Hilton. Get with it. All right. Question number 2 then. Let's see. We've got Jonathan says, "Hi guys, is it worth applying for the Aviator business card for the sign-up bonus? Opened one 2+ years ago, now closed. Given the recent terms and conditions implying only 1 lifetime bonus and potential for American Airlines shutdowns. Thanks. What do you think? And do you think it would make a difference if I opened it using a business EIN rather than a social security number? I'm a sole proprietor." So
yes. I mean, so I think the Aviator business cards or the Advantage business cards, both Cities and Barclays are both great picks because they're not going to add to your 524 count, and they generally have pretty high offers to them. On the City side, you can, if I remember right, I think the AA cards you can only get one every 4 years or something like that. But
personal side,
just on the personal side, is that what?
Well, I think the personal side doesn't affect your ability to get the business.
Okay,
card, so you can get the business card still.
So anyway, you might as well do that on the City side, and then on the Barclay side, I don't know if they have any kind of once per lifetime rule, but I think it's worth a shot personally.
Yeah, it's probably worth a shot. I don't know if you'll get it or not. Barclays is kind of tightened up in terms of, I mean, they used to let you get a whole bunch of Aviator, well, before they were Aviators, when there was the US Airways dividend card, they used to let you get multiples of them, but then they kind of stopped that. They started making it difficult. Some people, would close it and wait a couple of years and apply again and still not be able to get it. So Barclays kind of a mixed bag. Some people end up for the business cards, end up having to jump through some additional hoops and provide some additional documentation. Other people just get approved. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I wouldn't be particularly worried about American Airlines shutdown, probably. Like, if you're questioning whether or not that's a risk for you, it probably isn't, is my thought. If you would know if you're at risk of an American Airlines shutdown. I think there were probably some people that got caught up in the big wave of shutdowns a few months ago. I wouldn't expect that to happen again. I think they made their statement and made it clear and shut out the people they wanted to shut out, and maybe threw out the baby with the bathwater at the time. But I don't think that they're going to do it again in the same way.
Wasn't that mainly when people were using the codes that they weren't supposed to? They gave them access to the offers.
Yes.
So as long as you're not using a special code, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
All right. Now, Paul C says, hey, Greg and Nick, hope you're well. Am I crazy making Hilton a third option now that the future of breakfast at their properties seems to be a thing in the past? Is gold status at Hilton finished?
I mean, I hope it isn't, but if it stays this way, it's certainly a big bummer. I mean, the truth is that I tend to collect points to mostly redeem them overseas for foreign travel. So while I certainly made it clear in the post I wrote that I'm unhappy with this change and I am concerned that it'll spread to Hiltons worldwide, it probably won't affect me that much within the United States just because I don't travel that much within the United States and I don't stay at a Hilton every single time that I do. So I'm not going to like throw it away and say I'm done with it, but I am obviously unhappy. I think it's definitely a devaluation. I think for the majority of people who mostly travel domestically, travel for business, etc. Yeah, I mean, I think if it stays this way, gold status would be finished for a lot of people. Although I say that, and I know that there are some people that don't eat breakfast. They don't eat it at the hotel. They go somewhere else. They're going to be happy with getting an appetizer or a drink or something later on. Somebody brought up the fact that if you happen to be staying at a Hilton that has a lounge and the lounge is actually open and you're a diamond member, well, then you kind of have your cake and eat it too, because you get breakfast in the lounge and then you also get this dining credit. So there are some positive ways to look at it. Overall, I think it really, really stinks. So I'm not happy with it. And I don't mean to be an apologist for Hilton because I think it was a really garbagey move for them to do right now. But no, I don't think you're crazy to make them a third option. I mean, they're going to be my third, like domestically, they're definitely going to be my third option, like for the foreseeable future until this changes. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, no, agreed. When the news came out and you wrote about how negative you were about the change, I was really tempted to write a counter post about, no, this is actually good, but honestly, I would have a hard time saying that. I mean, yes, there are people for which it is arguably good for, and even actually, my previous stay at that Curio Collection Hotel, it would have been great if I had that option then because breakfast was useless, and so having $12 off for dinner because they were open for dinner would have been appreciated, but.
I mean, if it really is temporary, if you want to give Hilton the benefit of the doubt, and you want to say, okay, people have been complaining because they're getting that little bag of nothing that Greg got. And so instead of just continuing to give them that and continuing to field the complaints all day long, we're going to give them a little credit until this time is over. And then, we're going to reset January next year. If you want to think that Hilton is being genuine, which I don't, but if you want to think that, then maybe this will only last until December and everything will go back to being good in January. We can all.
Yeah. I'm still hoping, that they'll come to their senses and at least make it an option. Because that would be awesome. If on check-in you're said, do you want this or that? And you say, no, I want to keep the free breakfast. That would be really good. But at least as of now, that's not the way they're talking about it. Okay.
All right,
Melissa.
So, my turn.
Is it your turn? Yep. Go for it.
It doesn't matter. Okay, for Hyatt and SLH stays, small luxury hotel stays, I understand that though you don't get status benefits. Oh, so for the SLH stays, I understand that you the thought that you don't get status benefits, but you're still eligible for a room upgrade. I'm misreading something here. Do you know anything about how often they actually upgrade? Okay, so you don't get status benefits, but you are eligible for a room upgrade. Do you know anything about how often they actually do upgrade your room in practice, Greg?
I don't. I could talk about my experience with it, which is that I've done, I think, 3 SLH stays that sort of popped to my mind. There might have been more, but in one, I was automatically upgraded to a great room. That was at the Wentworth Mansion. In another one, which was in Palm Beach, I had to kind of force the issue and explain the whole thing to the person at the desk who didn't know anything about it. But then eventually a manager got involved and they were like, oh yeah, you do a room upgrade. So they actually moved us to a nice corner room. And then the one in Fort Lauderdale. I was almost going to say Fort Worth, and I was like, Lake Worth. Nope. All right, Fort Lauderdale. I don't remember getting a room upgrade there, but I'm not really sure they had any available anyway. So I'm just not sure whether that was a relevant, even possible at the time. So that's my status.
My single SLH stay was at the Schloss Hotel Kronberg, which is outside of Frankfurt. It's an old castle. And when I got there and checked in, they showed me to a room. So the guy at the desk, went through all the check-in and then walked us all the way, across this property to the room and kind of explained it to us and left. And then came back huffing and puffing, barely able to breathe, almost 7 or 8 minutes later, saying, "I'm sorry, this is the wrong room." And he apologized profusely. He wanted to make sure that he got to us before we started unpacking. He said he was thinking it seemed odd because they don't usually put members in that room for whatever reason. And so he wasn't sure. And then he got back to the desk and saw the reservation and realized that we should have qualified for a free upgrade. And so they had a different room earmarked for us. And he was very apologetic. And they gave us a great suite. It was terrific, living room, bedroom, bathroom, nice view. So we didn't ask for anything, but didn't show any disappointment with the room. But they did automatically offer it.
Right. So from our limited experience, it seems like pretty good. I mean, not 100%, but pretty good. Okay. Next one is from John. Greg and Nick, due to the recent devaluation, I've added my Hilton Surpass to my no longer useful pile along with my IHG. The hotel devals stink the most. Will hotel cards be useless in a few years?
I mean, I doubt it. People have been saying stuff like miles are going to devalue and be useless, and MS is over, and this is dead, and that is dead. It's easy to get caught up in the negative side, and I'm not happy about the Hilton changes either. But still, $15K spend on the Surpass card for a free night cert, and potentially 90,000 Hilton points if you do it at a grocery store. That's still a good deal. Even if you don't get free breakfast, that's still a good deal. And if you do use it overseas somewhere, because you can use it at almost any Hilton property worldwide, you still, at this point anyway, will get free breakfast. So I wouldn't put the Surpass card in the useless pile yet. I mean, if this spreads and they stop doing breakfast worldwide, then it may move more useless to me. And the IHG card, I think if you don't make good use of the free night certificate on the IHG card, there's nothing else that matters about the IHG card. That's basically, fourth night free if you get the newer one. So if you can use those benefits, that's the only reason you have it. You don't have that card to spend on. And that's the way it is with most hotel cards, right? I mean, you don't get hotel cards usually to spend on them. You get them for the initial bonus and for the ongoing benefits.
Right. I'm still, happy with the current slate of hotel cards. And I mean, the latest thing that happened with Hilton is supposed to be temporary, and it's not really a reflection at all on the card. It's something the program is doing, and I know that affects you as a card holder, but I wouldn't make any long-term throw out Hilton just because of this. I mean, because very well may go back to status quo. Or as we talked about earlier, maybe they'll offer it as an option, which would be best of both worlds. So then I'd actually very much appreciate that, because there are certainly times where I don't want to get breakfast, or I don't have time for breakfast. So having another thing I could use the credit for, that'd be awesome.
Agreed. And I have to imagine they're going to get feedback on this, and whether they are only going to take that feedback in order to try to spin it to justify this, or they're going to take it to try to improve it. We don't know yet. And, with only 6 months to go or so before this is, supposedly over, this short time, and it's only until the end of this year, there's not such a long time that you're going to have to hang on to it for years and pay for it to find out how this all turns out. And we ought to know in a few months whether or not this is a long-term change. So don't make any rash decisions. Doyle asks, I have a vendor that codes as grocery that we spend $5,000 to $10,000 a week with. I have the Spark Miles card already. Sounds like the Savor would be a great card with the 3% uncapped. Is there anything better?
That's a great question. Anything better than 3% uncapped, especially if you have Venture Card, or the Spark Miles in this case, you also get to convert that cash back to miles. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, uncapped. So, I'm sure that the Amex Gold card will give you 4x, but that's up to 25K spend per year. So
10,000 a week.
So
that in a couple of weeks.
I can't think of anything uncapped that would beat this. The one thing, if you can use mobile wallet, Google Pay or Apple Pay, then you could get 3x with your altitude reserve, which is worth 4.5% towards certain things. So that could be considered better, but you can't convert those to miles. So I think that's pretty darn good. I think that's a great choice for you.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, I think that the City Premier would be similar-ish, but I think the Capital One partners are better. So, like we said on the podcast, I think I'd take the Savor in that case. So yeah,
actually the Savor one, right? Because
Savor
it's
one,
fee,
yes,
fee free,
correct.
and it also has the 3x grocery.
Correct. I guess the only issue you're going to run into there, though, Doyle, is I don't know how amenable Capital One will be to cycling your limit repeatedly, because obviously 5 to 10K a week, you're going to be cycling whatever limit it is that they give you on the card. So on the business side, I imagine everybody is more tolerant of that type of thing because businesses have to spend money. But with a personal card, I don't know. Are they going to let you spend 5 or 10,000 a week? Hard to say. I don't think there have been a lot of people doing that much action on Capital One cards for a while. So hard to know.
All right. I think
knowledge.
Yeah. P knowledge. Either of you know the trick of getting all 3 Hilton cards, hit all the sign up bonuses, and also getting a second one of each card with upgrade offers. I have the honors and want to do this, but not mess up.
So the goal is to end up with all of the cards and also get a second of each card via upgrade offers. I mean, no, I'm not familiar with the trick we're talking about, but I guess you could just walk through it and say, okay, you get one of each card to begin with. And then I guess if you really want to get all the bonuses, you would get one of each card, then downgrade your Aspire to a second Surpass, and then wait for an upgrade offer and upgrade one of the Surpasses to an Aspire, and then do change your no fee or something. And I mean, you could probably work that around. I could wrap my mind around it. It's possible to do, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume that there are situations where, and this isn't uncommon with Amex, where you might get an upgrade offer like from the Surpass, even though you already have the Aspire, and so then you'd have 2 Aspires. But I just don't know if there's a specific trick for what order to do things to make that happen. No idea.
Yep, I don't know either, and I also don't know why you would want to have 2 of the no fee Hilton cards. I don't think 2 of the no fee one would.
Maybe so that you have more upgrade offers to the Surpass, and then and then onward to the Aspire. I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah. So no, we don't know, I guess.
But right. Long way of saying we don't know.
We don't know.
We didn't promise that we'd have answers for all the questions. We just promised we'll try.
Right. We have an answer. It just may not be the answer. Right. Devin asks, what are Greg and Nick recommended tips or tools for putting together an ANA round the world trip? Well, you are the expert on the ANA round the world trip. So what are your tips and tricks?
Well, I mean, I wrote a post with listing a bunch of the tricks. So go there first, find that post and read that. I haven't actually, pulled the trigger on an around the world trip yet. I called and had one priced out and priced as expected, and so that was all good. But I guess the main trick, if you want to call it that, is I find that United's website is really good for finding Star Alliance flights that are available. And so you use that to find the available flights and make sure you write down all the specific flights and times that you found, so that you can kind of feed all that information to ANA on the phone when you're booking this thing. And but beware of United's own flights, because if you don't know, it's not obvious necessarily in United's interface whether United's own flight is at Savor level or not. And it has to be at Savor level for ANA to be able to see it and book it. And so, for example, I ran into that with, I thought a flight from Tokyo to Honolulu was available on United business class based on United's search. And I didn't know off the top of my head how much Savor versus standard should price. Looked to me like it was a Savor-ish price, but apparently wasn't, because ANA was only able to see economy, but that was good enough to price it anyway. So I don't know. Any others pop in your head that are worth calling out?
I mean, it's starting and stopping in the same country. When you start in a large country, then you can cut a big piece of distance off by starting on one side of it and ending on the other. And if it happens to be the United States, then it's really easy to position with a Turkish flight if you can find United availability. So that could reduce the cost substantially for you. So that, I guess that would be the other key tip. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's one of the best values out there. So I look forward to hopefully one day being able to do it. The other great tip I can give you is to get on frequentmiler.com and type in ANA around the world, because Greg's written a few posts now about the planning process that'll also help give you some more material to work from. Yeah. And so Steven's going to share that post in the comments. So you don't even have to get on Frequent Miler and look for it, because he's going to find it and share it with you.
Good job.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
So let me just add,
Pepper, yes.
I haven't written a post about this yet because there's not really much to say, but my round the world plans have been thrown a curveball by the news that Australia wasn't planning on opening up to travel anytime soon, including 2022. So
yeah. Yeah.
So
when
I'm
I saw that
trying to
news,
decide
I
what to
was
do.
like, "Ooh, I know that's not what Greg was hoping to see."
Right. And that could change. But for now, at least, it's looking like what I might do is kind of book something where I come close to Australia, like, we get to somewhere in Asia and then back to the United States, and have enough time there that if Australia opens up, we can separately book a flight to Australia from Asia, something along those lines. So still trying to figure it out.
Not a bad deal. Not bad if you can get somewhere in Asia and you can fly then maybe Thai Airways. Thai is really nice. So you fly Thai to Australia, assuming that they're operating those flights and everything, because obviously there's a lot up in the air, but that would be a not bad plan. So best of luck with that, both to you and to, who was it? Let's see. It was Devin, right?
Yes. All right. Next question is from CD Bradley. Player 2 has a Hilton Surpass, which we're considering canceling when the annual fee hits in September. We're staying at a Hilton in October. Will she lose gold immediately, or will it last until the end of the year?
It'll last at least until the end of the year. Whenever the Hilton Elite year ends, which I can't remember if it's the end of January, February, or March, but so it'll go into the beginning of next year at the very least, but may very well go beyond that for another year yet. Because when you get the credit card, it's kind of like earning elite status this year. You're always earning elite status this year for next year's status. So, for example, if I earned elite status from staying at a hotel today, then I would have elite status next year through 2023. And so if I got a brand new credit card today, again, I'd have elite status, which would presumably work for next year until 2023. So I don't know when they kind of re-up your status, but there's even a chance you'll get it another year beyond next year. Get it next year also. But yeah, you're definitely not going to lose it right away. And I'm sure that there are reps out there that will tell you that you'll lose it right away. And I know that they're wrong.
They'll tell you, and they'll tell you you'll lose all your Hilton points. Things that are just completely wrong.
Yeah, totally wrong. So go ahead and cancel if that's what you want to do. I got to hit my de-zonk button again. I guess I zonkified there. I don't know. It's not really a button. Okay, so why don't you read the next question then, in case I'm still going through zonk.
Greg comments, says, if you do an award booking with JetBlue and pay the taxes and fees with a JetBlue credit card, do you get a free check bag, or do you have to pay for the entire ticket with your JetBlue card?
Well, I would say that Stephen Pepper is going to pop the post in the bottom here that is the link to the Frequent Miler guide to free checked. No, it's the guide to free checked bags via credit card. Or do you remember the title closer than that?
Something like that, but it doesn't. That guide doesn't answer this particular question, because this is saying, I hope it does, because I don't know. This is saying, so the post that Nick's talking about tells you which airline cards you have to actually pay for the ticket with in order to get a free check bag, which is only, if I remember right, JetBlue and United, I think, are the only ones that have that requirement. Maybe Hawaiian, I can't remember. But
No, Hawaiian doesn't offer free check bags, not even for cardholders.
Oh, well, there you go. But this is a little variation on the question, which is saying, well, what if I'm not really paying for the ticket because I'm using JetBlue points? And so if you're using JetBlue points, is it enough to basically pay the taxes and fees on that award in order to get the free check bag? My answer is yes, that's enough. I don't have any proof of that, but I mean, that would be so bizarre if they didn't count that as paying for the flight with the card. So I'm confident you'll get free check bags. But again, there's a little asterisk on that, and the fine print says I've never tested this. I don't have a JetBlue card.
There you go. Me either. I haven't flown JetBlue in like a decade at this point. So I like JetBlue. It just hasn't worked out for me to be convenient in a long time. So I'm not familiar with whether or not that'll do it. So hopefully, I agree with Greg though. I mean, logically, it would seem crazy to me. It would be what crazy thing did JetBlue do this week on the podcast if they didn't give free check bags in that situation, right?
For sure.
All right. Vlad asks, what's your feel on any summer promos from Hyatt? What do you think, Greg? You think there are going to be some great new promos coming down the pipe here, or what's going on?
I mean, they set the bar so high, and so their first promo of the year, which was really an extension of last year's, was incredible, and then the next one was good, very good, but not great compared to the previous one. And so I think there'll be another one that will also maybe objectively be good, but compared to the current one, I think will be like, oh, it's not as good. They don't have to do much to incentivize travel really for the rest of the year. The domestic travel has been insane. And so unless they want to incentivize international travel as that starts to open up, I don't see much motivation for them to do big promos. So I'm guessing that there will be a promo, but it'll be not too exciting.
I agree. I think if the vaccine hadn't had as much success as it's been having, then people may have been more hesitant to travel, and maybe we would have seen more promos. I think we both thought that there's a possibility we would see more promos this year, but the way things are going right now, I don't see hotels needing to give any incentive. People want to get out, they want to travel, and they're starting to feel okay doing it. So I just don't think I don't think there's any need to give people an incentive. I think, everybody wants to get away right now, right? It's like just starting to happen for a lot of people more and more. So yeah, I don't see anything new coming there. Nothing new.
Yeah.
They'll have some sort of promo. Everybody does, but
yeah,
like Greg said,
right. If you've looked at any vacation destinations within the US and looked for like hotel availability, you'll see that they're pricing high, and many of them that you want are sold out if you're looking near term. So yeah, they just don't have, they don't need to do it.
No. All right. Devin then asks us, if a lap infant for a flight overseas is 10% of the cost of the ticket and the ticket price fluctuates regularly, when does the airline calculate the 10%? I'll answer that: when you pay it.
When you pay the 10%, that's
when you pay the 10%. Yeah, when you call to pay it, that's when they calculate it. And the reason I know that is because I obviously have traveled with a lap infant a little bit the last couple of years. I don't know if Greg knew the answer to this. I apologize for cutting you off, so I've done this a few times now and called to price it out and dealt with the variance and whatnot. And in fact, on ANA at one point, I had called to add my son as a lap infant, found out how much it was, and I was like, okay, I'm going to talk that over, call back, and I'll pay for it separately. And then I forgot to call back and pay for it separately until like a day or two before the flight, and so I had to get it requoted then. So I ended up paying a much higher amount because, of course, 2 days before takeoff or whatever, the flight was much more expensive. So 10% of the much more expensive flight was a higher award ticket for the infant. So yeah, if you want to play the game of watching the fluctuation of prices, try and save a little bit, you can do that. But I don't know if it's really worth it. I would just add the lap infant when you're ready to add the lap in. How much are you really going to save? How much your price is going to go down? They're going to go down enough that 10% is going to, I like from 4,000 to 3,000, you might save $100, I guess, but you're probably not going to see enough variance to play too many games there. I would just add your lap infant when you're ready. Although I would tell you, don't book with an airline that charges 10% of the cash price, if you can avoid it, Aeroplan charges 2,500 points each way for, no, rather 2,500 points per itinerary, I think, for a lap infant these days. Maybe it's each way now. They might have changed it up with that. Virgin Atlantic charges very reasonable. Again, 2,500 points economy, 5,000 business, 7,000 first for a lap infant. British Airways charges 10% of the mileage price. So there are a number of different options out there that I would think about booking with somebody else, because 10% of the cash price can be pretty expensive in some cases for the honor of holding a lap infant on your lap for hours.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one for you. This one comes from an email.
Okay.
I have a TK, so I guess that's a Turkish. FCO to IST to EWR.
Okay, so Rome to Istanbul to Newark.
Right. On September 26th, to in business class. I know things with Italy are fluid and new rules nascent. Can I arrive to Italy from another EU country, Greece or Croatia, with lesser restrictions to pick up my flight home? I heard Nick talk about how hard it was to cancel a TK award ticket and wanted to try and avoid that. For context, the entire trip is, I don't know that I need to read the whole thing. Let's see.
A lot of stops.
Yeah. So a third week TBD based on if Italy is really open, if I arrive through another EU country. So he has a bunch of places he's going, and then sort of a conditional stop in Italy.
Don't know. That's, yeah, I mean, as far as what the restrictions are going to be in any country at any time in terms of what you can actually, where you can come from and how long you can spend, and where else you've been. I feel like that's such a fluid situation. You're just gonna have to Google it when you get close to departure and see how things are. In terms of canceling the Turkish awards, some people have had a lot of difficulty canceling Turkish awards. By contrast, I've canceled a number of them now, and it's been super easy each time. So I don't think that I'm doing anything special. I don't disbelieve the people who've had difficulty. I definitely believe that some people, I've seen the stories, some people have had some nightmares trying to cancel Turkish tickets, but I, on the other hand, have called up and asked to cancel and paid the $25 per passenger and had the miles immediately back in my account while I was on the phone each time so far. So it's possible that it'll be really easy to cancel. So I tell you that so that, if you do have to cancel it, you don't necessarily have to be so fraught with worry that it's going to be a nightmare, because it might not be a nightmare.
Right. And I mean, I would at this point be willing to gamble that Italy will be opened up by September, and you'll be fine. I mean, obviously I don't know anything special, but I mean, that's enough time off, and Europe is has it all intents to open to US and other places, at least with proof of vaccination.
Yep.
All right. Another question for you, Nick. So I'm going to read it. Can you give a little detail? This is from Vince. Can you give a little detail on any tangible benefits from the Founders Card, specifically the elite status benefits, and how that can be leveraged, Cathay, Virgin in particular?
So the Founders Card trial doesn't offer all of the elite status benefits that the Founders Card offers. You have to pay in order to get some of the more popular ones like Caesar's Diamond or the Fast Track to American Airlines elite status, which actually I think is not available right now, even if you do pay. That comes and goes. So in terms of the Cathay ones and the Virgin ones, those are available even with the free trial. The Cathay one looks like it's an instant upgrade to silver status. I haven't actually tested to make sure that it is an instant upgrade to silver status. So, I mean, that I guess could be useful-ish if you're going to be flying a bunch of Cathay. But seeing as though, to my knowledge, Cathay is running very few long-haul routes right now, I don't imagine that silver status on Cathay Pacific will be very useful, particularly because silver status isn't going to get you any reciprocal benefits with most of their airline partners. So probably not something you need to rush out and get now. But in the future, if you're going to be flying them a bunch, I think it'll get you an extra check bag in economy class and some stuff like that. I looked up the benefits and it was nothing that excited me, but no lounge access or anything. But I guess it's better than a hole in the head, as they say. And then you can get a small discount on Cathay Pacific paid flights. And so I had said in the post, if you're flying for business a bunch, if you got yourself a small business and you're flying to Hong Kong a bunch, I mean, hey, 5% on each flight, might really add up after a while. It might not really be a full 5%, but whatever it is, it's $50 a pop and you fly 10 times this year, it's $500 in your pocket. So why not? But nothing that was like, got to rush out and get it. The Virgin thing. So with Virgin Atlantic, it says that you can get automatics, or you get silver status with one flight, with the completion of one flight, and a fast track to gold. And so the fast track to gold requires 500 points, tier points, instead of the customary 1,000 tier points. But you have to earn them in 6 months. And the thing is, right now, I believe when I looked at the Virgin Atlantic website, they're giving you 24 months to meet the typical elite qualification standards, which would be 1,000 tier points for gold status. So you get 2 full years to hit 1,000 points, or 6 months to hit 500 points. The fast track is faster, yes, but it requires a lot more travel in a shorter period of time right now, given the way that things are right now. So it's not necessarily an exciting deal for everybody. The one thing that stood out to me that I haven't tested yet and don't know when I'll get a chance to, but is that the silver status says you get silver status with the completion of one flight. But when I looked through the terms, it wasn't clear to me. Well, I should say, it was clear to me that it probably should say that one flight needs to be on Virgin Atlantic, but it doesn't actually say that. So I don't know if it really has to be on Virgin Atlantic. Could you fly Delta and credit it to Virgin Atlantic, and that counts as a single flight? I don't know. You just have to earn some tier points and you get upgraded to silver. So maybe that's something, but I haven't had a chance to test it. I don't know if I'll be flying Delta at all this year, so I may not get a chance to test that anytime soon. But since Greg probably will fly Delta at some point, he should sign up for the Founders Card free trial so that he can tell me if that works. Except he already has Virgin Atlantic Silver, right?
I have silver status. I ought to have gold because I have over 1,000 tier points, but now I'm thinking they're not reevaluating my status for 2 years because of the extension, or I don't know what's going on. I've had over,
or they've circulated the photo of Richard Branson choking you. Don't give this guy anything. You already took a free week at Necker Island.
That must be it. Or maybe gold has a hidden requirement that you actually fly Virgin Atlantic, which I've never done. That's possible too. I don't know. That would be bad news for your theory, Nick, though.
It would be bad news if that's the case. Yeah. I mean, there are some other tangible benefits in there. There are some other decent benefits. I wrote a post about it, so you can check the post out. There are some ways you could save some money depending on what you spend money on. It wasn't stuff that was going to save me a ton, but might save some other people. I signed up for the United thing, and it says it might take up to 2 weeks to see that, to be able to get the discount on United flights between 2 and 8%. And I've been waiting because I do want to book a United flight. I've been waiting for that little button to show up to give me the discount, and it hasn't yet. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's been about a week. Hoping sometime soon.
Yeah. So Stephen adds in that for those who want to see the full benefits of the Founders Card for the full paid membership, you could just go to founderscard.com/benefits, and you can see the list there without being a member.
There you go.
So that's good to know.
Very good. All right. So Greg Coleman asks, how often do you cycle, cancel, and sign up the 3 Chase business cards? Do you have any strategies for this? What's your strategy, Greg?
My strategy is I don't. I have plenty of other ways I earn points. And so my thing with Chase is like, once I got all the cards that I'm interested in the Chase portfolio, I don't want to really do anything to poke the bear. So I'm just happy just keeping my ink cards as is, and I don't cancel them.
Agreed. Yep, totally agreed. All right, Jonathan says, considering signing up for the Altitude Reserve card, do you think they'll ever increase the sign-up bonus over $50K? What do you think, Greg?
I don't think they will. I mean, they've had that $50K offer for all time, as far as I can remember, since the beginning of Altitude time. So, why would it change now if it didn't change during the pandemic when every other card was increasing its sign-up offer? So I'd put it in the bucket of the Hilton Aspire that I previously thought would raise its sign-up bonus, but didn't. So I don't see it happening.
No,
all right.
I think it's been 3-4 years. No change.
Right.
Not going to be a change, probably.
Okay. Pepe says, how many credit cards do you each own?
That's a good question. I saw somebody get asked this question the other day, and I was like, I wonder how many I have, because I haven't counted recently. A lot. I'm not sure. I mean, more than 10, less than 100. I'm not sure how many off the top of my head. Do you know?
I have the same answer. I usually tell people around 30 because one time in the distant past, I counted them up and the answer was around 30. That's just for me, not counting my wife. But I don't know if that's still true. But I do have a number. That sounds like ridiculous, but I have A lot of them are no fee cards. Then a lot more are cards that kind of pay for themselves because they offer free nights or other perks that I find valuable. And then others are ones that I'm just keeping until the next annual fee, and then we'll sign up for other cards. So yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, when I first got into this, at some point I opened 23 in a year. So I know that there was that point where I was opening tons and tons of them, and I'm not doing that anymore because I value the ones that I have, and I'm able to maximize the perks and things. So like Greg said, I don't think about the number that often. So
yeah. So I have this like to do for myself to make sure all my cards are logged into Travel Freely, because so I do use that to manage new signups. But when I first set it up for myself, I only entered in the cards I had signed up for in the past like 3 years or so, and I didn't go back further. And so I can't use it. If I had done all of them, I'd be able to at a glance see how many cards I have, but I didn't do that.
There you go. All right. So Mr. Sandman says, Greg and Nick, which do you like more, the Marriott Ritz card or the Marriott Brilliant? So we're talking about the two expensive $450 Marriott cards, one on the Chase side, one on the Amex side. Which do you like more?
Personally, I like the Ritz a lot better, and that has to do with the free the priority pass that it has, and free authorized users, and they can each get their own priority pass. So I've made, these priority pass memberships available to many family members just by adding them as free authorized users. And so we all get this priority pass, which is a great version of priority pass. It has no limit to the number of guests you bring into the club. And it also, unlike the Amex version, lets you get pay for restaurant charges at priority pass enabled restaurants. For people who don't want to worry about gaming, or like don't think they'll be able to use the Ritz's $300 in credits, because those are airline fee incidental credits technically. I think the Brilliant is more user friendly because its credits work at any Marriott. You just pay for the room charges and you automatically get back the 300. So if that's you, I would see that card as more user friendly, but otherwise I like the Ritz way better.
I think your point about the Amex card being more user friendly is a good point, though, because you also have Amex offers, which might save you money on things, and so we do see those Marriott Amex offers from time to time. The most recent one I didn't see on a Marriott card, but I'm sure some other people probably did. I've seen them on Marriott cards before, so that'd be a nice little thing to be able to stack potentially. And Amex has done a lot more in terms of adding stuff in light of the pandemic to cards in general. So I can't remember right now what the Brilliant has off the top of my head. Can you help me here, Greg? Does it have a dining credit? Does it have a cellular credit? Does it have something?
It has the dining credits. That's the personal cards have the dining credits. Yeah.
So it's got, some amount of dollars per month, but 10, 15, 20, something like that.
20?
I don't remember the Brilliant.
I think it's 20. Yeah.
I would think it's 20.
Right. Which you're right. That's a fantastic pandemic era perk. So good point.
And they've done the spending offers too, where you spend, 10,000 and get 10,000 bonus points or something like that, which typically are not compelling, but at the same time, every now and then we get an email from somebody who's like, in fact, we just got one a week or two ago from someone who said that they had the old Marriott card that earned 1 point per dollar, and they're used to spending $75,000 a year in order to get titanium status or platinum status rather, and now they don't have the card anymore, and they're wondering how they can get it, blah, blah, blah. So I know that there are people that use their Marriott card all the time, even though it's not an ideal return on spend. And if you're going to be one of those people using your Marriott card on all of your spend or on a lot of your spend, then probably having the Amex card to be a little better, because there's more of a chance you'll see some spending offers now and then. So there's some arguments there.
Don't forget that
I want the Ritz, but
yeah, the Ritz card has worked with the Chase spending offers. Those things like getting 5x in grocery stores or whatever, they've done a spate of those things over time. The Ritz has qualified for those things. I think right now there's I think I'm getting like 10x at Marriott properties, and then something else. I can't remember the full deals.
Get that promo for some reason. Yes, I know. So Chase has upped their game on that. And the Ritz card overall, I think for all the reasons Greg said, I prefer, but I think that there's an argument to be made for the Brilliant for a lot of other folks. All right, so then Edwin, is it next, I think, or did I miss one? Maybe I skipped
Okay,
over.
let's see.
Yep.
Billy Goon says, can I get the Amex Marriott Brilliant sign-up bonus if I got the bonus before only from an upgrade offer over 2 years ago?
So that's the Amex card. No. Amex, once you've had the card, doesn't matter whether you got any kind of bonus or not. You could have had the card and missed the sign-up bonus, didn't do the spend or something. You can't get the bonus on that card again. That's it. It's done. Once per lifetime, which anecdotally it seems to be that a life is about 7 years long in Amex's eyes, but the Brilliant card hasn't been around that long. So whenever you got your bonus was recently enough that no, you're not going to qualify for the welcome bonus again.
Agree.
All right. Edwin says, have the Ritz card, want the Brilliant card. Probably no bonus, but can I still apply and get the card, or does Amex not allow that?
That's a good question. So the matrix, we have a matrix showing like what cards you can get if you have this is all for Marriott. If you have one Marriott card and one another one, what I don't think we spell out in there is like, can you get the card, or is it just, you're not eligible for the bonus, but could you get the card anyway? And I think the case is that you could get it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would say the same. I think you can get it. In general, Amex cards, yes, you can get the card even if you're not eligible for the welcome bonus. So as a general rule, yeah, you can get approved and just not get the welcome bonus. Whether or not that's specifically the case, because there are some weird rules back and forth between Chase and Amex, is what Greg's saying here. I'm not positive either whether they bar you from the Brilliant if you have the Ritz, because I seem to remember there being something in that matrix about if you've had this card within the last however long, like 90 days or something like that, right? It's not just the bonus, but
right.
And I don't remember which combo that affects. So you'd have to check the matrix, and maybe Stephen can check the matrix, or already has and has answered that. I'm not really sure, to see if we do have that in there. Maybe we don't though. So good question.
The post, we have a standalone post on like which Marriott cards am I eligible for, and in there we've listed the actual terms of the sign up offer, and that should say whether that should be clearer about you cannot have this card or you cannot get the bonus, and that's where I would look specifically.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. So then Laura asks, do you think Miraval will have a reduced point discount for summer like Hyatt normally does during the summer? Miraval properties, those wonderful all-inclusive site, or not all-inclusive exactly, right? They don't include everything. They give you credit though when you book through Hyatt. Talk about
they're all inclusive. Miravals are all inclusive for food, and then they have a whole bunch of activities that some of which are included, others you have to pay for, but they also give you a certain credit per night there that you could use for some of those activities, or for massages, or for special meals that aren't included as part of the all-inclusive. They usually have a summer promo where there's some kind of point discount. I'm going to go on a limb and say, despite what I said earlier about Hyatt not having incentivized stays, I'm going to say, I think they're going to be trying to get back to sort of business as usual, and probably will do something along those lines, but for what that's worth.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't have any inside knowledge on that. I would have been more doubtful just because demand for domestic travel nearby within a drive from home is super high. But I guess that's partly influenced because the closest Miraval to me is in the Berkshires, and that's drivable from Boston or New York. And so I feel like there are a lot of people within a drive that I would think they wouldn't need to highly incentivize people to come. But then again, it's in the middle of nowhere in Massachusetts. So maybe they do need to incentivize people. Hard to say. Hopefully. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, Laura. I'm sure my wife would be happy to see that return. Because I'm sure she would like to take off to the nearby one.
I've been really interested in going. I had a number of them booked and ended up canceling them during the pandemic. And now I'm sort of in a situation of where, like, if there's not going to be a buy one, get one offer or something similar, then I definitely want to wait till the pandemic is like well behind us. Because this kind of like spa luxury and exercise type of resort that these are, I think to me, it would just be a little worse than usual if masks are required, or if it's even, and if some of the services are not available. So that they haven't had all their spa services available, for example.
Yeah, and you don't want to pay 60-something thousand points a night if not everything is available.
Right, exactly.
I'd rather wait and pay my 60,000 when everything is back. So.
Right. Yep. No, exactly. All right. Mrs. NB says, are you aware of any way to use points or miles towards a stay at a secrets resort?
No, I would assume, but maybe I'm wrong. I would assume they're available booking through the Chase portal. No, if they're available through the Chase portal, then if you have the Sapphire Reserve, you could use points at 1.5 cents each. If not, then you could use Capital and Venture points, Venture miles, they call them, to erase the travel charges at a value of 1 cent per mile. And there's a couple of other cards sort of like that out there. Otherwise, no, bank account bonuses. That'd be my other thing. Go after some bank account bonus. Pay for your stay with the bank's money. What do you think, Greg?
I don't even know anything about secrets, so no. I think what you said sounds right. I'm certainly not aware of. There are some hotels that you wouldn't expect are bookable with hotel points because they're not exactly part of that chain, but they're somehow affiliated. Like Choice has their, I can't remember what that.
They've got Blue Green Vacations, and they have preferred hotels or something.
The preferred hotels and resorts. Yeah. Not all of them are available, but some of them. Anyway, but secrets, I haven't heard of any chains that have secrets as something that you could book that way.
No, me either.
All right.
Melissa then asks, I have a Sapphire card. I want to cancel or downgrade before the annual fee hits. If I downgrade, which card do you recommend? The original Freedom? Is that even an option anymore?
I don't think that's an option anymore. I would just downgrade to the Freedom Unlimited. It'll keep it as a Visa, and so you'll keep the same card number, new expiration date though, and it's easy, and that's a good. If you don't already have that card, it's a good card to have. If you I assume, I actually don't know. Do they allow a downgrade to the Freedom Flex, which is a MasterCard? Because I mean, that's always a good card to get, even if you already have, because then that would expand your 5X options. I just don't know that would be an option. But if you don't have the Freedom Unlimited, I think that's a good card to have in your arsenal. And if you do, see if you could get the Freedom Flex. See if they'll let you downgrade to it. I just don't know.
And if they won't let you downgrade to the Freedom Flex and you already have the Freedom Unlimited, then don't forget the other option is there is a no-fee Sapphire card. It's not a good card. It only earns 1 point per dollar everywhere, but it will keep that slot open. So if you did want to upgrade to a Sapphire Preferred or Reserve in the future, you could, or product change for whatever reason, if product changes open up to the Flex or something. So I wouldn't probably cancel the card altogether. I would downgrade it to the Sapphire over nothing if you've already got the Freedom Unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Let's see. Miss Solar.
Solar. Is Samsung Pay sunsetting?
I don't know the answer to that question. I know that they're not putting the MST technology on the newer phones. They haven't been for a while now. So it's possible that it's sunsetting. Have you heard something specifically about this, Greg?
No, I don't know anything about it.
I haven't either. But what I do know is that the founders of Loop Pay, which was the technology that kind of magic technology Samsung Pay used in phones before the latest generation, where you could just hold the phone up to the swipey part of the credit card terminal instead of needing to have a terminal that is near field communication enabled. You could typically use almost any old terminal because the phone or the watch mimics the magnetic strip of the credit card. So you hold it in front of the magnetic strip reader and it makes the terminal think that a card was swiped. And so that's the nifty feature of Samsung Pay, at least for me, because it works almost everywhere. Nowadays, of course, because of the pandemic, I feel like the near field communication terminals are much more prevalent than they once were. Anyway, if that's your thing, if you have someplace where you're shopping all the time that's got the old terminals still, the founders of LoopPay, of that technology, have created a product called OV Loop, which was on Kickstarter a while back. And so I funded, I was one of those people that helped contribute to the Kickstarter. And so they sent out some pictures, they're building them, they're expecting to ship them in early June here. So I expect to have one of those soon. So it's called the OV Card Valet, I think. And so that is using that same type of technology. And it's just like a little, I don't know, like a little card that you put on your keychain, and then you'll be able to hold it up to the magnetic strip reader the same kind of way as Samsung Pay. But at this point, they haven't announced which banks they're going to work with. It sounds like it's not going to be available with all banks. So I don't know how useful it's going to be yet. I think you can still pre-order it on their website. But again, they haven't even shipped to the Kickstarter folks yet, so it's not something right around the corner. However, the good news is that that type of technology is not dead. At least there's somebody working on it still and creating a product for it.
Right. And Stephen adds that the type of gift card deals that have been available exclusively through Samsung Pay are now available through a CashStar website. I don't know if that's what they're asking, but so the CashStar website apparently has the same type of deals and available to everybody.
Oh, good to know.
So that's very cool. So anyway, it's the top of the hour. So I think that's, or bottom of the hour. I'm actually not sure
top or the bottom.
what the term, what the right direction up or down for that term is, but it's the end of the hour. So it's time to say goodbye.
All right. All right. Thank you guys very much. And join our email list, get on our email list, frequentmiler.com/subscribe to get on our email list, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. Join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group, and we will see you back here again